Sissy, what's the most fun podcast you've ever listened to?
That Sounds Fun with Annie F. Downs, of course.
You're not just saying that because she's kind of our boss.
David, I would listen to That Sounds Fun no matter what. It truly is a whole lot of fun.
I could not agree more. Annie is a New York Times best-selling author and speaker, and she wants to connect her listeners to some of her favorite things and favorite people,
including fun new books and authors you will love, enlightening faith conversations with Christian leaders, inspiring musicians, athletes, actors, and more.
Plus, you will always get to hear what she's learning about God, relationships, rest, and chasing fun through it all.
We are big fans of That Sounds Fun. So join us as we listen in to Annie every Monday and Thursday.
We promise you will love her conversations and you'll walk away feeling like you just made a new friend.
That sounds fun, right? See what I did there? Hey friends, welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas.
And I'm Melissa Trevathan.
And we're so glad you've joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in.
As you're listening to this podcast episode, do you feel worried? Do you have a stress level you'd rate higher than a 6 out of 10? Are your shoulders hunched up around your neck? Is your jaw clenched? Have you gotten frustrated with any of your children in the past 24 hours? Have you reacted with the same emotion and intensity as your child? Have you had a hard time falling asleep? Have you had flashes of thoughts of your children being hurt? Have you had intrusive, irrational thoughts? Have any of those thoughts felt like they got stuck on a loop in your mind? Have you had a worried reaction that was bigger than the situation warranted? Have you had worst case scenario thoughts regarding your kids? Have you felt like a failure as a parent?
Have you been reading my mind? Were those intended for the listeners or for me? I'm getting really worried. My heart is racing right now. I answered yes to too many of those.
I did. As I was reading it, I thought the reason I even wrote these is because it feels like the definition of an Enneagram 1. I just live with my shoulders hunched up around my neck.
So much of the time.
Or a parent, not just an Enneagram 1. I think any parent, because what we were going to say is then you may be dealing with worry and anxiety, but the reality is all of us are. One of the things that I read in the research for this book was anxiety is a response to cumulative stress over time. Who is not experiencing that today? I mean, we all live through a pandemic. There's so many things that are contributing to that, but we're all here.
Yes, we are. Which is why I would love it if we could move to one of my all-time favorite parts of the book. So I love when you talked about the 5 ways anxiety impacts you. Can we talk about those 5 on this episode today? Because I think it would be so helpful.
I would love to. I mean, I don't really want to because I feel like I'm living out all of these. But yes, my hope is that would be helpful to you because we're going to get to some good news at the end. But yeah, I do think it's great to talk about these 5 things. Okay, so I'll start.
Okay.
So the first is that anxiety distracts us. And I remember sitting with a mom who said, I'm so worried about getting it right that I'm not even being a parent. And I think we all can relate to that in whatever aspect of life we're in. Anxiety pulls us out of the present every single time. And one of the, again, in the research, one of the things I came up with is that about anxiety is that anxiety does its best to define our past, to distract us in the present and defeat us in the future when we're not even there yet. And I think for parents, the distracting us in the present is one of the things that breaks my heart the most because it takes away your ability to connect in those moments. So that's where I'd start. Anxiety distracts us.
That's so good. Secondly, I love when you talk about how anxiety makes us attach future meaning to present problems. And I wish I had a quarter for every time I did a parent consultation, either in this office in person or on Zoom with someone out of state about a 4-year-old boy, and the mom is concerned, what's he going to be like with his wife someday? And I am always so quick to say, we cannot make any determinations about him as an adult man or a husband right now at 4, like we
Yes.
haven't seen enough of the evidence of all of who God's making him to be. And that is a really hard stretch of development. 3 to 5 is a complicated point. And I think we can do that in so many different moments. I have parents of 13 to 15-year-olds who start forecasting all the possibilities of who they will be as adults. And you and I have laughed over the years and said, I do not want to go down in history as who I was as a 14-year-old.
Absolutely.
And so we see what's true right now in this moment, and certainly to the conversation we're sharing. If anxiety's in the mix, we don't even see everything clearly at this point because it's hijacking so much of what's going on in their brains and their bodies within our relationships in ways that we start forecasting possibilities that simply may not be possibilities. So,
and I love that you said that, because I think if we can go back to who we were at their age and their stage, I think it can be so helpful to let them off the hook. I mean, I think I've told you this story before, but my group of friends in high school, we were pretty good kids. We were listening to Christian music and we were praying together. And I remember skipping school and sitting in the parking lot of the Baptist, what was it called? The Baptist bookstore. It was the only Christian bookstore in Little Rock at the time. Sitting in the parking lot of the Baptist bookstore where I had been skipping class and listening to Twyla Paris sobbing in the car. I mean, there was no frontal lobe connection at that point. The lack of integrity of all of those things coming together. But again, I think when we can go back to that, it helps us give more grace to the kids we love and not make us attach that future meaning to present problems.
yes.
Yeah. David, do you know how I know it's back to school season?
How?
I went to Target twice looking for a new simple modern Trek tumbler, the one that's been all over social media, and they have been out of stock.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Simple Modern is the go-to brand for families looking for all of their back-to-school needs. Backpacks, lunch bags, drinkware.
And you get all of those essentials in store at Target and Walmart or online at Amazon and simplemodern.com. That's what I did. I finally got my Trek tumbler, and it's been a game changer to keep hydrated. I love the simple design and that it keeps my water cold forever.
What I love about Simple Modern is that they give back 10% of their profits to nonprofits committed to causes like education and helping underprivileged communities.
So when you choose Simple Modern, you can feel good knowing your purchase is giving back to someone in need.
Go to www.simplemodern.com/RBG, and by sharing your email, you'll get a unique discount code just for you. You can bundle and save for back to school.
Go to simplemodern.com/RBG and make Simple Modern your go-to brand for your family.
Sissy, I heard you had another bunkin' party at your house last week.
I did. I love having my nephews over for bunkin' parties. You know, David, this time Whit used the Dreamland Baby weighted sleep sack, and it was the best night's sleep he's had at my house.
I didn't think those boys ever slept when they were at your house. I always imagined them too excited to be at Diddy's house.
Well, usually Whit is too excited to go to sleep, but the Dreamland Baby sleep sack really helped calm him after an evening of fun and excitement.
That is incredible. Their Cover Calm technology distributes the weight from shoulders to toes, and it's made with 100% soft and natural cotton. I'm feeling all calm and cozy just talking about it.
They say the gentle weight of the sleep sack mimics a caregiver's touch, which helps little ones sleep longer stretches.
Well, I hope Whit's good night of sleep means Diddy also got a good night's sleep.
I did, and I want that good night's sleep for all of the parents and caregivers out there. Go to dreamlandbabyco.com and enter code RBG at checkout to receive 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. This offer is for new and existing customers.
Go to dreamlandbabyco.com and use code RBG for a better night's sleep for your baby and for you. I laughed with the last mom about her 4-year-old son. She's like, what's he going to be like as a husband? How will he interact with other women? I'm like, he can't even successfully sit on the toilet 100% of the time right now or button his shirt.
Yeah.
We just don't see everything yet.
That's so good.
Yes.
Yes, that's so good.
What's another one?
The third one, I hate to even say this one out loud because I feel like we may be poking at a few of you, but we're poking at ourselves first. This is the log in both of our own eyes that anxiety makes us micromanage. And I think part of that is when we can't control the big things, hello, parenting, everything in parenting feels like a big thing, then we go towards the little things and start to try to control those. I mean, I know for myself, one of the things I've realized, and I try to talk with parents about this sometimes really, hopefully graciously, is that detail doesn't exist. For me, everything can have the same emphasis, especially if I'm sad, if I'm tired, if I'm overwhelmed. There is no majoring in the majors because everything's major. And so out of that, I can get hyper controlling in this way that, and I think this is true for all of these ideas, all 5 of them, is I don't like myself when I get to that place. And that's why I want to come back to the good news. But I definitely think anxiety for all of us makes us micromanage.
Yes. Well, and building on that, I love your 4th idea is that anxiety plus intensity equals micromanaging. Like that's the very definition of it right there. And, I think, Sissy, my clearest example of this, I think I've told you the story before, is when I think back to being in grad school and I was heading toward my comps, my comprehensive exams at the end. I had all these papers due, and then you take this giant test that it's either pass or fail. Like you don't get a grade. It's either you are going to get a degree or not. And all the anxiety and all the intensity that I was experiencing in that. And my wife said, okay, I'm going to go away for the day and just give you the house, as much quiet and space as you need. Take as much time as you need to study. And she came home, and I had organized the garage and mopped the floors. It's like, what in the world? I was just micromanaging the house, like anything I could start to control because I felt so out of control internally, and think about all the ways that shows up for us.
And when that shifts to the little people, the intensity is not about cleaning. It's about our interactions with them.
Yes.
And I really do feel like this is something I feel like I say to parents who are lean maybe a little more our direction of type A or Enneagram 1s, that I believe our intensity is always scary to kids. I just think it makes them think we're angry every single time. And I don't even think we know that we're being intense. I don't feel like I know I'm being intense most of the time. And I think we need people in our lives who can say, hey, can you dial that down a little bit? Or this is how I'm interpreting you. And I know it's not necessarily what you mean in this moment, because your kids can't say that to you.
Sure.
It would be disrespectful. And so we need friends and spouses and people who will say some of those truths to us.
That's such an important point, because kids wouldn't interpret that as my mom or dad is just worried. Right now, it could be the sense of they're displeased with me, that way that intensity registers for them uniquely.
Yes.
Sissy, parents have to learn so many new skills to provide for their family. How to do crazy amounts of laundry, meal plan for even the pickiest eater, understanding the ins and outs of child development.
David, they have us to help with that one.
That's true. And they could have Fabric by Gerber Life to help protect their family's financial future. Fabric by Gerber Life provides an easy one-stop shop for your family's financial needs, offering high-quality term life insurance policies, plus other financial solutions in one easy online hub.
Fabric was designed by parents for parents to help you get a high-quality, surprisingly affordable term life insurance policy in less than 10 minutes.
Get your personalized quote in just 10 minutes and then apply when it's convenient for you. It's all online and on your schedule.
You could go from start to covered in less than 10 minutes with no health exam required.
And Fabric has more than just life insurance. Their easy digital platform also lets you create wills, access college saving funds, and manage your family's finances right from your phone. So your family is prepared for anything.
Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/RBG.
That's meetfabric.com/RBG. meetfabric.com/RBG. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
And then lastly, I would say, and this is something I something I found in the research on the Worry-Free Girls book, and it's a hard one to talk about, but I certainly have seen evidence of this in my office, that anxiety takes away our warmth and joy. And I think we both have met with parents who are trying so hard, and they are literally driving themselves underground with how hard they're working as a parent. And they are missing every bit of the warmth that I believe God has placed inside all of us. They can't access it because they're just trying so hard, and they're not even enjoying their kids. And it breaks my heart when that's the case. And I feel like I live it out all the time. And I mean, years ago, I remember with a certain coworker of ours who was very, very much friendlier than either of us are, was really, very outgoing, loved to talk in the hall. And my desk in our old office used to face my doorway. And so she would often be walking down the hall, and she would stop and talk to me if I had my door open. This was before I started shutting my door. Ooh, I'm such an Enneagram 1. And I remember thinking to myself, pause what you're doing, smile at her, and make it look on your face like you're interested, which is awful. It is awful to say that out loud about myself, but it is so true that I still have to do that at times. Sissy, pause your agenda. Stop, because I can drive that with so much intensity that I think it drives the people around me crazy.
Yes.
And it takes away my warmth and joy. And again, here we circle back to, I'm not who I want to be in those moments. It's not the legacy that I want the kids that I love to be left with of who I am. But there's hope.
There is.
Yes.
And let's give them some practical takeaways thinking about these ideas. Can I go first?
Sure.
First, most important thing that you could do, go buy this book.
David.
Go buy this book. Download. You could hear Sissy read it to you, or if you want a physical copy, or both, I want you to grab a hold of a copy of this, because it's going to be a game-changing experience. That I promise you. What about another takeaway?
The other, I would say it doesn't have to be this way. You know, everything about the research says that anxiety is the most prevalent disorder that kids or grown-ups are dealing with today. And it is also the most treatable. There are super practical things we can do today to change how we're interacting with the kids we love, how we feel about ourselves, the degree to which our shoulders are hunched up around our ears. We can start to change things. Our brains are malleable. We talk about in the book, and we talk often about neuroplasticity. Our brains are still growing. And so there are so many changes we can make starting now that can be a game changer for us and kids.
Yes. And then thirdly, we would encourage you to let the bottom 20% go. Make a list of your top 10 concerns, whatever those may be. You know, responsibilities or chores, academics or athletics, friendships or family members, and then let the bottom 20% go. We cannot major in everything, but we often try to. And so let's major in a few majors, and let's let some things go, and watch where that starts to bring about these really great and needed shifts for us, and certainly for our kids.
If you are enjoying the Raising Boys and Girls podcast, click follow on your podcast listening app to subscribe and not miss an episode.
Join us next time for another episode where we'll bring you help and hope on your journey of raising boys and girls.